Leo, I like this one. I think that for a lot of you, you may have been looking at things that have been going on in your life and going, what does this say about who I am? But I think that a lot of you are kind of getting past that right now. To the sea is talking about going with the flow, right? What you resist persists. But intuition is saying don't overthink or overanalyze anything, right? Overthinking and overanalyzing separates the body from the mind. It's interesting how I can find a Tool lyric in your message. But Naked Before the Stars, this is talking about how, first of all, you can't hide from yourself. You know exactly how you think and how you feel about who you perceive yourself to be. But I think a lot of you are getting past that garbage now. Intuition is just saying, listen, once you start to accept that those thoughts about yourself are there, then they can be released and it's easier for you to just kind of go with the flow of what's happening in your life right now. But this is self-acceptance. But you may have been overthinking why you have the thoughts that you do about who you think you are. And the other part of it too for me is it reminds me of something that Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about, right? If you want to change your reality, you have to change your personality. It's very hard to create better circumstances in your life if you're doing it from the same personality that created the problem. But I think that, a lot of you are kind of getting past these negative thoughts that you may have been holding about yourself because of a situation that you may have been dealing with. But, again, it's realizing that resisting it is not getting you anywhere. And it's time to just kind of go with the flow of what's happening. And Leo, you are amazing, you are beautiful, you are divine, and you are deserving of all the abundance. And that is the truth. Your overall here is the Seven of Pentacles, so you're reevaluating what you have to show for the efforts that you've been putting into something. Now, it could be, reaping the harvest, right? Reaping all the benefits of the hard work that you have been doing recently. But for others, it's kind of this reevaluation of, maybe if I do things in a different way, I'll have better results. Right, so we'll see where this is playing out. In the past, the Three of Pentacles, so we could be talking about work here, obviously. The Three of Pentacles, though, could be indicating collaboration with other people and the information being gained from, others is helping you to kind of refine your craft or what it is that you do. But we could be talking about a project in the past and you may be reevaluating it right now. In the present, the Queen of Cups. So the Queen of Cups for me, she's the mirror. She mirrors back to others what they are feeling. The problem with the Queen of Cups, I think, sometimes is because she's so emotionally intuitive. It's like needing to understand what belongs to you and what doesn't. Don't take on the emotions of others if it's not beneficial to you. Now, for others of you, it may be being more in tune with, the love that you have for yourself. And it may be that not only are you looking at yourself differently, but you may be opening up your heart to possibly others in the past that may have been wanting to work with you on something. But you still have this kind of like reevaluation going on, but your emotional side is very much the focus in the present moment. Future conditions, the Knight of Swords. This is almost like looking at something that you may have been working on or collaborating with other people with in the past, opening your heart back up to how you felt about it. And with the Knight of Swords, it's like immediate action. There's no hesitation here. It is abrupt, and as far as the communication, it could be very harsh, but you may be needing to communicate to someone about seeing a situation from the past differently, where, things could have been different. I feel like things could have worked out differently. But the minute that you start, tapping into that emotional awareness and understanding what belongs to you and what doesn't, this is where you're able to, without hesitation, say what needs to be said. And, if there is an opportunity to do things differently and get different results instead of doing that, coulda, woulda, shoulda, it's like you're not hesitating on this. You're acting immediately. Your best path to follow, the Four of Wands. This is, I think, for you, important, especially if you're trying to create better circumstances. So the Four of Wands really talks about, first of all, stability. It's about getting to this place where you get to celebrate the new foundation that you're building in your life. It's important to celebrate the small moments. So, and this is going back to the Oracle cards. If you're having this awareness about the thoughts that you have had about yourself coming up, when you get past the negative emotional side of that has a tendency to drag you down, and you find yourself in a moment going, you know what, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to accept it and let it go. It's so important to celebrate those small moments, right? Because those kinds of actions, when you continuously do them, will produce results, right? The way to change the subconscious mind is through repetitive action. Now, and that's just looking at how you may have been thinking about yourself based on your current situation, or that possibly things didn't exactly work out the way that you wanted them to in the past. But I like the Four of Wands because it's saying that, reevaluating what's going on right now is going to bring some stability in your life that's worth celebrating. In your environment, the Ten of Wands. So here's my thing with the Ten of Wands. What do you think needs to happen, or where do you think you need to be before you can let go of these burdens? And I think that a lot of you, maybe reevaluating things that didn't exactly work out the way that you wanted them to, and you're kind of going into this place of realizing the things that you've been carrying, right? This is saying it's time to let it go. And emotionally, you understand that, right? I like it. I do. I feel like, I almost feel like you need to be reminded that even the smallest accomplishment right now needs to be celebrated. Because if you don't, you're just going to continue to carry these emotional burdens, right? But there's always that destination with the Ten of Wands. That's what bothers me about that one. Your hopes and your fears, the Six of Wands. Hell yeah, right? Recognition. Recognition for the victories, the small victories. But don't look outside yourself for that. Be careful about depending too much on the opinions of others. It's really about celebrating the accomplishments that you're making right now. But I'm looking at this, and I think, on a more practical level, when you're looking at the Three of Pentacles and just coming down this way, it's like there was something that you were working toward. There's a reevaluation of everything kind of going on right now. There's this emotional side of you that is becoming more open and understanding of the burdens that you've been carrying, and that reevaluation is going to lead you to a place where you can act immediately toward the stability that you're wanting to create, or maybe a connection with a person that you're wanting to recreate. And the Six of Wands is just saying, as far as your hopes go, is that, first of all, you have victory over the situation. But also that there's that recognition. Just don't look outside yourself for that. And I feel like a lot of you understand that, and that's kind of what you're doing right now. And then coming out the Four of Cups. So, if you have an opportunity to restart something in a different way to produce different results, and you're really going inward and looking at, you know, the emotional burdens that you may be carrying, the Four of Cups to me coming out, and just looking at it is like understanding what your how do I put this? It's like understanding why you may have like lost interest in yourself and what you're wanting to produce in your life. But the Knight of Swords to me, what I worry about here is that you're going to quickly lose interest in wanting to recreate a situation from the past because of the emotional burdens that have been carried with that. But then I also look at the Knight of Swords and think, if you act too abruptly, you may end up in this place where you're just like, yeah, I'm not interested anymore. But for some of you, you may be looking at a past opportunity and going, you know what, I already know where this road leads. Maybe it is time for me to just do something different. Now with the Knight of Swords, though, you may be giving communication, though, directly and letting somebody know, look, this is how I feel about, you know, the burdens that have been placed on me, especially emotionally, and I'm just not interested, right? We'll see here. The King of Swords. Page of Pentacles. So there is an opportunity in communication. And then the Nine of Wands. You're more interested in protecting yourself. So the King of Swords for me, he's not as harsh as the Queen, but because you have the Knight of Swords here, it's like, listen, this is what I'm going to say about this situation, and this is coming from a place of clear understanding, right? Clarity, honest communication here with the King of Swords. It may be a little bit harsh, but it has to do with the fact that, you know, you've kind of looked at this situation, you're going, I'm not having it anymore, but there's a need to communicate that. And then with the Page of Pentacles here in the Nine of Wands, we are looking at, again, communication. But because of new information and learning how to do things in a different way, I think that you're being more clear and decisive about the opportunities that you're willing to put your effort into, because there's a part of you that's still kind of protective. You know, the Nine of Wands, it's like it is persistence and perseverance, absolutely, but there's also this need to guard what is important to you. And it's like, I don't want to let this back in if there's just going to be a lack of, you know, an emotional connection to it, right? But the minute that you start to reevaluate what you've been working on in the past, there is this stability that starts to be created. And it's interesting how that's coming out of a lack of interest with the Four of Cups. It's almost saying, like, you know, I'm just going to be honest and direct with you about how I feel about this, and I don't know that I really want to be a part of it anymore. It really is letting go of any burdens that you've been carrying around emotionally about a situation in the past where, you know, like I said, things could have worked out differently, but it is what it is. But you are moving into a place of stability, which is really nice. But yeah, you may be a little bit harsh and direct with somebody, like, look, I'm just not interested anymore. There is a different way of doing things here to create stability in your life, to get rid of the emotional burdens. And you may be a little bit more protective of yourself, but it's for a reason, right? Healing, yeah. Inspiration, which is great. And then emerging. So definitely when you start healing those emotional burdens, new inspiration will come in and something new will begin to emerge. A new personality, possibly. And if somebody has been putting a lot of emotional burden on you, though, too, you're just going to be really harsh and direct, like, yeah, I've had enough of it. Traveling lightly, simplify your life. Getting rid of the burdens, right? And then great adventure, take a risk, venture forward. I love it. I think it's a beautiful reading. And I really feel like, Leo, you're moving into a place now where there is this self-acceptance, but there's also this understanding that things can be different.